Craig Breslow and Sam Kennedy made a big statement surrounding the Boston Red Sox 2024 offseason. But are you buying into it?
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Vowing podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part is it's all completely free. So you might as well tune in because Locked On is your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. Welcome to the show. Happy middle of the week as it is officially Wednesday. This week's going by fast so far. I've just been super busy playing some catch up on stuff at work and watching some fun, intense wild card games as we now know that playoff baseball is officially here. And unfortunately, the Red Sox are not part of that postseason party. And it's interesting being on Twitter and seeing all these other fan bases getting to root for their team in October and me having to sit here and watch them be able to enjoy that and me being like, yeah, I wish my team was involved. So that definitely stinks and is a tough feeling. But according to the Red Sox front office, we will be returning to the playoffs next year. So I'm going to be talking about all of that today, as well as a player that sounds like could be moved in this offseason upcoming here, and touching on some minor league awards given out to Red Sox minor league players to reassure you that the future is still bright for the Boston Red Sox. So Sam Kennedy, Craig Breslow, and Alex Cora had an end of season press conference on Monday, and they touched on a lot of different things during the press conference after the season ended with the Red Sox finishing at 81-81, 500 on the dot, missing the playoffs, just being a very average team and out of the playoffs for the third straight season. So when they stepped in to this press conference, of course, John Henry wasn't there because he just doesn't show up for those things because he didn't want to be asked any of the hard questions. So one of the things that was asked was Alex Cora being asked about his contract extension and hopes for the future. And he was basically asked about his potential departure after the contract was set to expire at the end of the season, but then ultimately he signed a 3-year extension to stay in Boston. And he said he was in the whole time. His contract was up out of respect for the organization and for Craig Breslow. He didn't want to talk about it, but then they decided to talk about it. It gained momentum in a week, and they know that the Red Sox are the number one team in his life, and he and his family wanted to be there. So he said, we took care of my team, as in his family, the Cora family, and the promise of winning pushed him. So it sounded like he knew that he wanted to stay with the Boston Red Sox, and it wasn't really a doubt in his mind that he was going to leave. So he and his family decided, hey, it makes sense for us to stay. This is absolutely what we should do. And the front office promised him that they were going to do everything they could to win. And I think that showed in the way that they decided to be buyers at the trade deadline and make some moves right after Cora signed his extension. That can't be a coincidence. I think they had this conversation with Cora saying, yes, we will promise to be buyers. We will try to make this team better at the trade deadline. And sure enough, that's what they attempted to do, and it didn't work out. So I think he realized, hey, I want to win, but I also want to be in Boston. So you better make that happen if you want me to stay. So Breslow and company said, we will. Cora also said, I truly believe this is the last struggle, to be honest with you. I think this is it. There were a lot of positives. There were some negatives, but I believe where we're going as an organization, it's going to be fun again. And you never really know how true that actually is, if he actually feels that way or if he is just kind of being force fed that information from the front office. But if he's serious about that and that's actually what he means, then maybe this is when the front office turns around their mentality and really goes for it and doesn't try to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out when it comes to the players they're adding to this roster to make them more competitive. So I would take that with a grain of salt. You don't necessarily know if what he's saying is true. But if he is, that's definitely a positive if he feels like this team won't have these big struggles anymore. So Craig Breslow also was asked if there are any players in the organization that he wouldn't consider training. And he made it pretty clear that he's open to anything. He said, I think at this point, everything has to be on the table. I think to position ourselves otherwise could potentially eliminate a possibility. Now, the reality is, oftentimes values don't match up where it makes sense to trade someone that we believe is going to be a superstar here for a really long time. But I think to approach a conversation and take people off the table just doesn't make sense given our need to improve our product on the field. So basically, he's saying everybody's movable. I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, Rafael Devers to me isn't movable. I mean, he just signed that massive contract extension. Obviously, the plan isn't to move him. And I don't see them moving Trevor Story at this point either. So I think there are certain players that they definitely won't move, but he's basically saying we're keeping an open mind and hearing offers. And he's basically saying he's not afraid to move somebody if it's the right package and it addresses the needs of the team right now. So that's big of him. I mean, he did say that heading into the trade deadline too, that people are movable, and he obviously didn't move people who are on the active major league team that are regular players because he was trying to buy at the deadline and just add to that group. But it sounds like in the offseason, they don't want to close themselves out and say this player is unmovable if it means that it gets them a player that they really need. That helps fill a serious need on the roster. So, I mean, again, who knows if he's being serious or not? I can't trust that unless I actually see action being taken, but it sounds like he's willing to move anybody. Alex Cora was asked what he learned from a difficult 2024 season after guiding the team to its third consecutive season without the playoffs. And it was just an up and down year in the dugout. And he said, what I learned in 2019, every season is different. We were great in 18. We were okay in 19. 21 was awesome. And the last few years have been a struggle. I learn a lot just dealing with a young roster. The player development thing doesn't stop in AAA. We can do it here. And I think as a group, top to bottom, we did an outstanding job helping these kids to be better. And you saw the results. Obviously, we fell short, but at the end, you start looking at it piece by piece, and there's a lot of success stories. Others not so great, but we learn from those ones, and we should be better in the offseason attacking those things. He also did address the surprising early departure of Kenley Jansen, who wasn't present for the Red Sox final series of the season. And he said, I had a conversation with Kenley. As soon as we were done, I told him he was free to go home. It was a manager's decision. So it wasn't Kenley's decision to sit out that last series. It was Alex Cora basically probably saying, you don't need to be here anymore. You can go home. You can rest. And he felt like it was kind of a waste to still have Kenley there when the Red Sox were eliminated from the playoffs anyway. So that last series of games didn't really matter. But he's essentially saying that the player development thing was big this year, that he was able to see improvement from a lot of the young players, which is promising for this team. And that's something that helped him to feel positive this year, but also the team had its struggles and he trusts that they'll address those struggles. So he kind of did beat around the bush a little bit, but he mainly took away the fact that he learned that there are going to be success stories. There are going to be players who improve, things that go wrong, but every year it's different. And he just tries to stay positive and hang his head up high and move on to the next season and hope that things go better. Then Sam Kennedy was asked about ticket prices with some season tickets set to increase in cost. And he basically revealed that ticket prices saw an overall increase of 1.7% from 2023 to 2024, and that some season tickets will increase in cost for 2025. He said ticket prices now are set throughout the course of the year. It's dynamic pricing, so ticket prices go up during the year, they go down, and they change based upon demand. So I can't tell you overall where ticket prices will be for 2025. I can tell you that if you looked where we were in 2023 to 2024, now that the 24 season is over, on average overall, the ticket price increase was 1.7% for this year. I can't tell you where we're going to be for 2025 until after the season because prices change during the year. We do set certain levels for some portions of our tickets that are season tickets. Some categories there will stay flat, some will go up, and we'll see where that average ends up. That's such a non-answer to me. I mean, he was basically asked about ticket prices going up and the product on the field not matching what they're charging people for. And to me, that's completely beating around the bush and saying, oh, it varies year to year. How about you be straight up and say, yeah, we will be charging ticket prices based on the quality of the play on the field. He knows that's the truth. He's just not saying it. And that's what I hate about this front office sometimes is they beat around the bush and people are not going to be interested in going to games if the ticket prices continue to increase and the product on the field is not competitive enough. It just is what it is. Like they have to do everything that they can as an organization to make the team successful so that people feel justified in buying tickets to games. And the fact that he beat around the bush in that answer again made me so annoyed. Craig Breslow had some things to say too about the Red Sox season after finishing 500 and being completely average and missing the playoffs again. He said, this is the time of year that we reflect on where the organization is and where it's going. And I think as we think about where we are, the bottom line, as Sam said, is we didn't reach our goal. Our goal every year should be to contend for a division title, to poise ourselves for a deep playoff run. And with that as the standard here, we fell short. There's no dancing around that. We need to be better. And that is not to say that there weren't things that should be reason for optimism, things that are really encouraging or exciting. We can point to the emergence of a number of position players that look to be cornerstones of the next great run here. We can look to the emergence of 3 homegrown starters who each made 30-plus starts and reached innings totals that they haven't seen before. But at the end of the day, I think our fans have the expectation that we are going to compete for World Series championships. We share that expectation, and we fell short this year. Hello, yeah, we do have that expectation, and you did fall short this year. Like, no kidding, Breslow. Like, what answer did you give that provides insight that we didn't already know? Yes, we know there's positive aspects. Yes, we know there's young players that are developing that could be cornerstones for the future. I've talked about that all season long on this show. But what information are you giving that shows that you really understand what needs to happen here? Because that answer didn't convince me enough that we are going to go out and spend money and be aggressive. I'm still getting a sense of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with that answer, and it's really bothersome. Then Sam Kennedy proceeded to add that the building blocks are there. He seemed fairly upbeat during the whole press conference, despite acknowledging the disappointing season. He said a lot of bright spots in this season, a lot of good things happened, but obviously fell short of where we expect to be as an organization. I think the building blocks are there to get back to where we belong, and that's exactly what we intend to do this offseason. So similar to last year with the full throttle, I mean, like, this is legitimately what they said last year. And they said, we're going to go all out this offseason, and we are going to get the pieces we need to be a contending team again. And they did not. So we will see if that happens. Do I have faith that they will? I'd like to think so. Alex Cora made me feel a little bit more confident in it, but I don't feel fully confident until they actually go out and do it. So we'll see what happens, but those were the biggest things that I took away, the biggest key moments from the press conference. Now it's a matter of execution because guess what, Red Sox organization? Actions speak louder than words, so you need to go out and make the moves that the fans deserve. If you don't, you're going to lose lots of ticket goers, lots of people buying tickets. So we'll see, but coming up, included in that discussion of players being movable and Breslow not being afraid to move people, could Masataka Yoshida really be gone in the offseason? I'm going to be talking about that next. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel has some great offerings, and if you're looking to win lots of money and change your life, that's the place for you because you can bet on so many different sports. So make sure you check out FanDuel today. And also download Prize Picks because this is a great way for you to win lots of money on daily fantasy sports, as Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money, even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week. Kristian McCaffrey will run for more than 75.5 yards. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. All you have to do is download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup with code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks. Prize Picks, run your game. Lots of opportunities to win money here, and you have the in with us here at Locked On, so make sure that you take advantage of it. Lots of things to take away from Craig Breslow and company in their press conference that they had on Monday, and it was definitely a little bit underwhelming. I mean, they seemed to acknowledge that they know this season was a disappointment. They seem to acknowledge that they know the fans deserve and are hungry for postseason baseball in Boston, but they seem to think all of that last year. And last year, it didn't happen where they showed that they knew that. They didn't make a lot of aggressive moves to add to this team and improve and make it better, even though they knew that's what needed to happen. So do I believe them? No, I'm not convinced until it actually happens, because they can talk all they want, but actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. And their actions have not shown so far that they're willing to make improvements to this team. So they've got to show that before they have me on board with the vision of this Red Sox team. And Craig Breslow did mention in the press conference that any player is movable. He's not afraid to move anybody that's on the current roster to help get players that they really need to make this team a contender. And one of those players that came up in conversation was Masataka Yoshida. Now, Yoshida is a tough piece to move because of his contract. It's a possibility that they could move him. The Red Sox did try shopping him last season, but his contract makes him a difficult candidate to move. He has 3 years and $55.8 million remaining on his deal. And when the Red Sox signed him, they were intending for him to play left field, but he's been such a defensive liability and became totally one-dimensional as a designated hitter. He only appeared in 1 game in the field all season. So if I'm another team and I'm looking at that and I'm looking at his contract and the fact that he hasn't played in the field, I'm saying, well, do I want to take on that kind of contract for somebody who's just a designated hitter? And I wouldn't blame teams for turning that away. It feels like an almost foregone conclusion that the Red Sox are at least going to try to move him so that they can dump that contract, because he's not really a two-way player anymore. But the only question is if a potential return will even make it worth moving him. because of that contract. And I feel like teams aren't going to be willing to give up much for him, especially if they have to take on the contract. And if they do trade him, are the Red Sox going to have to take on a lot of the deal? In which case, then is there a point in that? So they might be kind of stuck in this phase that they're in now with Yoshida and not being able to move him because they don't find a trade partner. And Breslow was asked about him and if he was going to be used as just a DH. And Breslow didn't actually close the door on a move at that point. He said, we have to figure out how the roster comes together. I don't think it makes sense to be constrained by anything at this point. Being constrained by anything and the fact that he gave kind of a non-answer makes me feel like he's definitely open to moving Yoshida. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is, because it's not very common these days that a team has a specified DH. I mean, Red Sox fans were so spoiled for so long with having a really good designated hitter in Big Papi, and then even JD Martinez, who kind of served a lot as a DH when he was here. But it's not really common that teams have somebody who's a designated hitter that's all that they do. And so I think from the standpoint of where the Red Sox are at and maybe wanting to spend their money in other places, they are going to try to move him. However, his contract situation is going to make it very complicated for them to be able to move him. And it's likely going to require them to have to place another solid player in the deal in order to convince a team that he's worth taking on. And that other player that's in the deal could be a bigger time player that's on the Red Sox everyday roster and is getting a lot of playing time. And that could be somebody where it hurts Red Sox fans for them to move, and they're sacrificing some talent of that player because they want to shed themselves of Yoshida's contract. So I definitely could see there being some complications with this. I don't doubt that the Red Sox are at least going to try to find a trade partner for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if info comes out that they are not able to trade him because teams weren't interested because the contract was holding them back. And Tyler O'Neill and the Red Sox have had some discussions, and they have expressed mutual interest in another deal, but because of the crowded outfield sure to come, it might not make any sense for O'Neill to stay either. So Yoshida and O'Neill both could be out the door, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are. But if the Red Sox can't offload Yoshida or another outfielder this winter, then pursuing another deal with O'Neill definitely doesn't make sense. And the Red Sox might not have enough flexibility in the lineup to make it worth the money anyway. Yoshida has proved in his 2 seasons in the big leagues that he can be a key piece to the batting order, but they're heavy on outfielders and lefties with more coming up through the system. So if they did trade him now, they wouldn't be really losing a huge, huge piece. The other thing that could make things complicated in regards to a potential trade of Yoshida is that he did express some irritation in his shoulder, a nagging injury that he's supposedly been playing through. So it might require surgery this offseason. So if that's the case, then that could be a huge problem because teams are going to be hesitant to trade for him because of that too. So now that he's dealing with a nagging injury on top of his contract situation could make it complicated for the Red Sox to actually trade him. But I do think it's definitely a possibility that we don't see him in a Red Sox uniform after this year, because I do think Breslow is going to try to do everything that he can to get rid of his contract. So we'll see how things go there. But coming up, I'm going to be talking about some exciting stuff with this Red Sox organization, which is the minor league awards and Red Sox players who have received them. This episode of Locked On Red Sox is brought to you by Booking.com. Yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. Explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. With hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay. even in your baseball rivals' city during the postseason. Booking.com delivers exactly the right U.S. stay for you. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com, booking.yeah. I love Booking.com. I book it all the time for hotels and everything. And my fiance and I do a lot of traveling because he coaches travel baseball. And Booking.com always comes in handy in regards to finding great hotels to stay on those trips. So I definitely highly recommend that you check it out for all of your travel needs. So the Boston Red Sox are in a situation where they have no choice but to improve this offseason and get the pieces they need. And supposedly, according to the front office, they are committed to doing that. Not going to believe that until it actually happens. So we will see there. But the farm system is solid and the future is bright. And that is all correct. And the Red Sox did recently announce the winners of their 2024 minor league awards. So Offensive Player of the Year went to infielder, outfielder Kristian Campbell, who I've talked a lot about on this show. 22 years old, and he was named Baseball America's 2024 minor league player of the year and the Athletics 2024 prospect of the year. The 2024 Eastern League most valuable player is ranked by Baseball America as the Red Sox number 3 prospect, as well as baseball's number 24 overall prospect. In his first full professional season, the right-handed hitter batted .330, 142 for 430, with 32 doubles, 3 triples, 20 home runs, 94 runs scored, and 77 RBIs in 115 games with High A Greenville, Double A Portland, and Triple A Worcester. He played 40 games in Greenville, 56 games in Portland, and 19 games in Worcester. He made 35 starts at second base, 32 at shortstop, 25 in center field, 16 as the DH, and 5 at third base, while ranking second among all full season minor league players in on-base percentage with a .439 and OPS with a .997. The Tennessee native was selected by Boston in the 4th round of the 2023 first-year player draft out of the Georgia Institute of Technology. And he was signed by Kirk Frederickson and has a ton of potential to be a special talent for the Red Sox. Defensive Player of the Year went to outfielder Nelly Taylor. He's 21 years old, batted .233, going 95 for 407, with 26 doubles, 8 home runs, 54 RBIs, 63 walks, and 33 steals in 111 games between Single A Salem, 101 games, and High A Greenville for 10 games. He made 59 starts in center field, 25 in left field, 17 in right field, and 10 as the DH. He's a left-handed hitter and was named the Red Sox minor league defensive player of the month in May and August. Selected by the Red Sox in the 11th round of the 2023 first-year player draft out of Polk State College in Florida, he was signed by Dante Ricciardi. So another strong offensive talent that the Red Sox have. Starting pitcher of the year went to right-handed pitcher Hunter Dobbins, who has a ton of talent, 25 years old, ranked as the Red Sox number 21 prospect by both Baseball America and MLB.com. The right-hander began the season with Double A Portland, going 7-3 with a .317 ERA, giving up 37 earned runs over 105 innings pitched and 98 strikeouts over 21 games, all of them starts, with his ERA ranking 8th among Double A pitchers at the time of his promotion to Triple A Worcester on August 22nd. For Worcester, the Texas native posted a .261 ERA, 6 earned runs over 20.2 innings pitched, with 22 strikeouts in 4 games, all of them starts. He was selected by Boston in the 8th round of the 2021 first-year player draft out of Texas Tech University and was signed by Chris Riley. So keep an eye on him as a potential player to come up and contribute out of the Red Sox rotation at some point, because they desperately need that. And I'm sure he may make an appearance in the majors next year, even if it's in a long relief type of role. Relief pitcher of the year was right-handed pitcher Chase Sugar, who we saw make his debut with the Red Sox this season too. 27 years old, has made 5 appearances for the Red Sox in 2024. His major league debut, posting a .470 ERA, 4 earned runs over 7.2 innings pitched with 1 save. The right-hander also went 6-2 with a .446 ERA, 35 earned runs over 70.2 innings pitched, and 80 strikeouts in 36 games, 5 of them starts with AAA Worcester. In his final 8 AAA outings of the season, he recorded a 1.64 ERA, 2 earned runs with 11 innings pitched, and a 190 opponent batting average. They went just 8 for 42. The Texas native was selected by Boston in the 12th round of the 2018 first-year player draft and was signed by Brandon Agamenone. So we have seen him get his opportunity with the Red Sox this year. So hoping to see more of him next year. Base runner of the year went to infielder Franklin Arias. 18 years old, ranked as the Red Sox number 6 prospect by both Baseball America and MLB.com, as well as baseball's number 92 overall prospect by Baseball America. The right-handed hitter split the season between the FCL Red Sox for 51 games and Single A Salem for 36 games, batting .309. He went 97 for .314 with an .896 OPS, 25 doubles, 2 triples, 9 home runs, 54 RBIs, 50 walks, 59 runs scored, and 35 stolen bases over 41 attempts. He made 57 starts at shortstop, 20 at second base, and 9 as the DH. Following the FCL season, he was named the league's most valuable player, having led qualified FCL players in batting average with a .355, on-base percentage with a .471, slugging percentage with a .584, and OPS with a 1.055. The Venezuela native was signed by Alex Cora as an international free agent in January 2023. So he definitely has a lot that he provides and a lot of things he can do. Latin program position player of the year was first baseman / outfielder Justin Gonzalez. Gonzalez is 17 years old, led the DSL Red Sox blue in batting average with a .327, RBIs with 26, on base percentage with a .395, slugging percentage with a .516, OPS with a .911, hits with 52, doubles with 10, triples with 4, extra base hits with 18, total bases with 82, and runs scored with 27. In the postseason with the DSL Red Sox red, he batted .444, going 12 for 27 with 9 RBIs over 7 games, including a 4 for 5 performance in the clinching game of the DSL Championship Series. He's a right-handed hitter and was named the Red Sox Minor League Offensive Player of the Month for August. Dominican native who made 31 regular season starts at first base, 13 in right field, 2 in center field, and 1 as the DH. He was signed by Juan Carlos Calderon, Todd Klaus, and Jason Karagianis. So basically, he is super dominant, and I'm excited to see his potential when he comes up to the majors. And Latin program pitcher of the year went to right-handed pitcher Yermain Ruiz. 18 years old, made 11 starts for the DSL Red Sox red, going 3-1 with a 1.77 ERA, giving up 9 earned runs over 45.2 innings pitched, and a 1.72 opponent batting average, 27 for 157. The right-hander ranked 3rd among qualified DSL pitchers in opponent batting average and 8th in ERA. He allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all 11 of his starts, including a stretch of 7 starts from June 14th to July 26th, in which he allowed 2 earned runs and 10 hits total over 29.2 innings pitched, which is a 0.61 ERA. 10 for 97 that hitters went 1.03 opponent batting average. He's nasty. The Venezuela native also went 2-0 in his 2 postseason appearances, including a 2.0 inning scoreless relief outing in Game 1 of the championship series. He was signed by Cesar Murillo and Rolando Pino. So if you think the Red Sox don't have talent in the farm system, in summary, they do, and it's very exciting. And they also named left-handed pitcher Cam Boozer as the 2024 recipient of the Lou Gorman Award. This award was created in 2011 and given annually to a Red Sox minor league player who has demonstrated dedication and perseverance in overcoming obstacles while working his way to the major league team. And it's so true. He took everything so seriously and continued to work. And no matter when he got sent back down to the minors and when he got called back up to the majors, he still gave it 100% no matter what. And that's a great quality for somebody who plays for the Boston Red Sox to have. So there you have it. Boozer hopefully will get some more opportunities next year in the majors. And it's just a great sign that the Red Sox system is in good shape right now with tons of talented prospects. And Major League Baseball also announced its 2nd annual minor league awards on Monday night, and the Red Sox cleaned up top honors there. Kristian Campbell was honored as both minor league hitting prospect of the year and as breakout player of the year. And he was also joined by outfielders Roman Anthony and Joe Stixon Garcia as all MILB prospects first team selections. The Red Sox were the only organization to have 3 players named all MILB selections. So it's pretty cool. And the Red Sox have so much talent to look forward to. And it's definitely exciting that we have this super talented group of young players coming up. So maybe frustrating right now watching the Red Sox currently, but hopefully they're serious and they address the team needs in the offseason, and the future absolutely is bright. Be sure to check out Locked On MLB with host Paul Sullivan, aka Sully. After you finish this show, he will keep you updated on all things going on across the league and the playoff teams, and you can hear more about what's going on around baseball. So make sure to check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.